Okay, Molly, so today we're going to have a bit of an inbox review of our V22 Osprey. And this is a bit of an older kit. I've had this for quite a few years now. I think I've had it for about, I don't know, 8 years or something. So don't expect anything too flashy. This and being an Italeri kit, you don't expect anything like it's not a Tamiya kit. But I've never built this, and I actually haven't read any reviews on it online. This was the new tool kit when it came out. But it's one of those ones, it's just such a unique looking aircraft, absolutely superb. So I'm really looking forward to doing this one because it can be posed in so many different ways with your props like up or down and all that sort of thing. And I know you can get some aftermarket decals and different things to sort of do these up a little bit. So it's one of those ones I'm really looking forward to doing because it's something completely different. Absolutely beautiful looking aircraft. As you see by the box art there, absolutely beautiful, that box art. I love that box art. She's coming down to land or either taking off, whichever one she's doing. But all the dust raising up underneath it, absolutely beautiful. But as far as the rest of the box, it's fairly plain. There's one built up on the side here, showing you some photos of it built up. On the other side here, another one with it built up on there, a bit of information, but fairly plain. This one here is a 48 scale version, and we'll have a look inside. Now I have had this open quite a while ago. That's who I bought it from, Sandal Hobbies. I bought this, like I say, quite a while ago. So but anyway, the first one we've got here is the instructions, bit of information on the aircraft itself, and here's our decals. Now this has been, unfortunately, is one of the ones I missed. I haven't actually put this in a plastic packet, so they've started to deteriorate, so I'm going to have to clean these up, put them in a plastic bag to sort of look after those, because they've actually gone to hell a little bit. But they actually don't look like too bad of decals. They're not, there's a little bit of raised line there, but they're not too bad. But we'll have to clean those up, guys. Unfortunately, they're a little bit messy. So first page here, we've got our sprue call outs, all the parts on the sprues. Then we go into our cockpits. Now the cockpit looks not too bad actually. Looks like there's a little bit of detail in it. It's not like one big chunky piece or anything like that. There's quite a little bit of detail in there, but we'll have to look at the parts when we go in. Hopefully the panels, like the instruments that are all raised up. I can see decal call outs here. Hopefully it doesn't mean that we haven't got raised panels, but we'll have to have a look when we go in there. So we've got the inside of the fuselage here with our seats and windows and stuff going in. Again, we'll have to see, it doesn't look, there's a lot of detail in there, but you're not going to see a lot in the back of this thing anyway. There's only a couple of windows along the sides, so you won't see a lot in here once she's closed up. But hopefully it'll be enough to make it look realistic if you can peer through the windows a little bit. And inside here we've got a little bit more flooring. This looks like our panel at the back here, our ramp that folds up and down. I'm not sure if that's posable up and down, but I'll probably have it closed anyway. It should be on the ground. I don't think there's going to be anything loaded into it. I don't think there's enough detail to actually have it opened and have something go in. But looking down here, there is some hydraulic arms down here to show you probably could have it posed open if you want to do it that way. And then the next step here looks like the inside part of our wings going together up here. Then we've got the start of our props going together, and they look like nicely detailed. There's quite a few parts putting those together, so that they're not going to be like just one big chunky section. You've got all the little cowlings going together there. It looks quite nice actually, guys. But look at the parts as we go through and make sure that they are going to be quite nicely detailed. We've got our housing going on for our props there, our engines and stuff like that. Looks like some really nice detail again in those guys. But again, we'll look at the parts as we go through. And then we've got the inside of our wings. We've got to attach the rotors, the rotor housing, the motor housings to the outside of the wings. And it looks like you can actually pose these as saying alternative, so you can sort of twist them up or down, whatever you want to do with them. Tail section goes on there. So your tail section goes together in here, and then it goes on in one piece at the back there. And then we've got our props going on the outside here. So it looks quite nice, guys. That looks like some nice detail there. And we've only got, looking at the instructions here, we've only got one sort of call out for a painting decal. And like I say, there's a pretty old kit, so there wasn't a lot of versions of this round, but there's a lot more versions now. So I can probably get some aftermarket stuff to do this up, but I'll have to see when I build it as to what I want to do. I'm going to look on the net and see if there's any other versions I want to have a go at. But we've only got one call out there on the back, and a little bit of Italeri stuff on there. And then looking at our parts now, looking at some nice, really nice rivet detail, but it is actually raised seam lines, guys. So to do this properly, you're going to actually have to engrave this, which means there's a little bit of work in it because there's quite a few seam lines that have to be done. I mean, it's not overly complex like a B17 or anything like that, but looking at our engine housings up here, there's quite a few things that have to be, I mean, if you want to do it properly anyway, you're going to have to engrave these, take off the old seam line. Then you have to be careful because you get rid of the rivets. If you've got a rivet, like a rivet engraver, you can obviously go over and take the rivets and everything out and re-rivet it. I have got a riveter over there. It's a trumpeter one that's not very good, so I'm looking to get Rosie a riveter to sort of do things like this to make it look good. So I'll probably have to wait till I get that, till I do this. But looking at the seats, you've got the seat belts in there. They're a little bit thick, but they're not too bad for a kit of this age. Our engine housings, looks like we got our blades are actually built into that, but there is a gap between the blade and the housing, so it's going to look a little bit realistic. At least they're not sort of moulded in where it looks like it's actually moulded all together, so it should come up not too bad. And then we have our clear parts, which I've already actually started a long time ago. I actually started covering these up, and this is with metal foil that I've actually started doing the canopies. But again, there's rivet detail on those as well, and this is already pre-tinted, so that's a good idea because these things are tinted. It's pre-tinted, so that's good. You don't actually have to worry about tinting it yourself. And then next here we have, looks like the inner wings. Again, guys, all these seams, they're all raised, so they're going to have to be sort of, if you want to make this a decent sort of aircraft, you're going to have to engrave all these seams. Again, it's not overly complex. It's not like a B17 or anything that's overly complex, but there is quite a bit of seam line stuff going on there. But when I do this kit, I'll show you how to actually re-engrave seams and stuff like that. It's the same with our rotor housings up here. These again are going to have to be re-scribed because it's all raised. It's very unfortunate that it's all raised, but I mean, it is an older kit, so you do have to expect it. And from looking at this, there is actually a bit of flash. You can see a great big chunk of flash hanging off the side of there. Then we've got our props up here, again, bit of flash. And looking at the other side, again, you're gonna have to engrave, like there's parts here you have to re-engrave. So it's one of them kits, guys, you're gonna have to do a bit of work to make it look fairly good. Again, these props are the same. Here's our seats for the back. The seats are actually quite nice, actually, guys. They've got the bit of a ripple effect there for the leather. All the seats are in the upright position, so you're obviously not going to have people in there. But at least they got those in there so that you can post the back door open if you want to. Just have an empty cargo bay. And looking at our these little bits and pieces, handles and things that go on the outside. Again, I can see a couple of places where you're going to have to re-engrave some of this stuff and a little bit of flashing on it. So you are going to have to clean a bit of this up, guys, to make it look fairly good. It looks like we've got our wipers here for our windscreen. They're very thick and chunky looking, so probably have to thin those down with a bit of sandpaper or file or something like that. But you know, like I say, for an age of this kit, it's not overly bad. I've seen much worse. And our last sprue here, I've got a few pieces rolling around the bottom that are broken off. But again, you can see on here, guys, you can see all the stuff. These are underwings and stuff like that where you're going to have to clean up the seam lines. This one here, it's got a big thick part with our flaps, the cowling flaps are on there. Up here, get it in the camera. You see up here, we've got this one here, has to be re-engraved, but the rivets, the rest of it, the rivets are actually quite nice. They're not overly done, probably a little bit heavy, but they're not too bad. Another seam line here that has to be redone. The tyres and the rims look quite nice. A little bit of raised detail there, a bit of flash, and they'll have to be cleaned up, but they're not overly bad. Like I say, I've seen much worse. But anyway, guys, that's just an inbox review. This is going to be one of those ones you're not going to know how good or bad it is until we actually start building it. To see if there's fit issues and see what a hassle it is to re-engrave it. But anyway, it's one of those ones I'm really looking forward to doing, guys, and I will try and get around to it in the next 6 months or so. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Leave some comments below. And but anyway, guys, as always, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.